What did computers use for output before monitors? How did the early industrial computers, such as UNIVAC, ENIAC, Mark I, etc. display output before monitors existed? Did the first personal computers, like the Altair 8800 or the Simon, use monitors, or did they use some alternate output as well?
The first computers used punch cards or lights. Wikipedia says for ENIAC. An IBM card punch was used for output. The German Wikipedia article about Zeus's Z3, the first apparatus that can be called computer, says: Einer Tastatur mit Lampenfeld vor und Ausgabe von Zahlen und Manuellsteuerung von Berechnungen. That means, it had a keyboard with lights for input and output. Programs were read from punch cards, as Knob said. As computers got more common, they used often the already existent teletypes, that means output was made through printing text on paper. Until today, Unix terminal emulate to some degree teletypes. Edit, you asked specifically about pieces. First pieces came up in the 50s and had different methods for output. The IBM 610 used a keyboard for input and an electric typewriter for output. Also, some other early pieces used printers, i.e. Olivetti Programma 101. The Simon or the Kinbake one used lamps for output. Monitors seemed to come up 20 years later, in the 70s. One early model with monitor is the DataPoint 2200 from 1970. And naturally, the milestone Xerox Alto. More infos about history of pieces at Wikipedia, as usual.
You may want to check out the Computer History Museum's timeline or this URL. It's been a while since I spent much time there, but it is very interesting and may be helpful. It will probably give you some computer names that you could then research to find out how people interacted with them.
Before monitors, computers used punch cards, paper tape, banks of lights, fanfold paper, and bells for output. When I was going to school, we submitted our programs to the sysadmin, input, on punch cards, and the output was printed on fanfold paper. To answer your specific questions. Mark I, 1944, used a 24-channel punched paper tape for input and output. Or for alternate manual data entry, 60 sets of 24 switches could be used. ENIAC, 1946, used a card reader for input, and a card punch for output. Simon, 1950, used a 5-hole tape for input and 5 lights for output. UNIVAC, 1951, used a keyboard for input and register lights for output. Xerox Alto, 1973, used mouse and keyboard for input and a monitor for output. MIT's Altair 8800, 1975, used an ASCII keyboard for input and a 32-character alphanumeric display terminal for output. To illustrate an alternate input-output method in use near the dawn of the PC. Pong, 1975, used 2 knobs for input and a TV for output. Some other early computers. EDSAC, 1949. CSERAC, 1949. And even before all that. Mechanical calculator, Pascal, 1642. Jacquard loom, 1801. Schweitzian calculation engine, based on the design of the difference engine, 1843. Arithmometer, 1851. Difference engine, 1859, as at Artistoix pointed out, used a bell and a typewriter. And even before that, as at Wernicke and at Artistoix pointed out, calculation assistance has been going on for quite a while.
There have been many I/O devices in the history of computing, from simple light-emitting devices such as incandescent light bulbs, and later LEDs, to punch cards to mechanically operated alphanumerical displays. Pretty much any way you can think of interacting with anything has probably been used to interact with computers, such as bells, whistles and other such things. Arrays of lights were probably the simplest form of monitor, as they could be used in a similar way to the pixels you see on monitors these days. Monitors are only one of the many ways that have been devised to interact with computers, and it stuck because it is the most intuitive and technologically realistic method of dealing with information.
If you want to support PJ Hannah, please consider subscribing.